What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Trailer Park Live here on the 2nd Street Marvel, where we're coming at you. Well, it looks like we're probably going to be coming at you live, maybe about 6-7 days a week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Probably at least 5 days a week. But thank you all so much for being here. Now, I decided to start doing this show every single day. I'm going to see if I can hold to it every day during the weekdays, as I believe, there might possibly be a void to be filled by oh, you know what, hold on here. I think there's possibly a void to be filled here for people to come and chat with me about movies, music, comic books, and different things like that. So I hope you all will join me on this journey. Now, I'm going to see if I can make this show live every single day at 8 a.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. So for you, if you're out there on the East Coast here in the United States, then gosh, what would that be? 8, 9, 10, 11. What was that? 11 o'clock your time? Probably 11 o'clock your time. So, it's about the middle of the day for you. So thank you all for being here once again. Now, as I said yesterday in yesterday's show, I am going to try to do this every day, but the other thing that I want to do is, in case you guys can't tell, I'm not a huge channel. I am not monetized. I only have just a little over 300 subscribers, and I will be doing a giveaway. As a matter of fact, I announced a giveaway winner yesterday. I will be doing another giveaway at 350 subscribers for a digital copy of Shazam. Now, to get entered into that, you have to be subscribed, and make sure you leave a comment in this video or any of my comments in any of the videos from when I hit 300, which I believe was May. It was. Nah, I can't remember. I'll let you guys know. But it was just here in the middle of, I believe it was June here, just a couple of weeks ago. I guess we're in July now. It was in June. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, I just did announce the giveaway winner yesterday. And Fatal J, make sure you get a hold of me for that to claim your prize. But then also, I will be doing one at 350 subscribers. I will be giving away a digital copy of Shazam. So anyway, enough of all of that. Now, like I said, I am a small channel. I am working my way to, it's funny. So many people come to YouTube and want to get to monetize. Get 1,000 subscribers, get 4,000 hours of watch time. And the thing is you don't really need all that. What you need is good supporters that are out there willing to support your content. And I hope that if you're here on my channel right now, that you are one of those people. What I want to do, I guess my whole goal is, I started a Patreon. There is a Patreon link down in the description here, where you can go and donate. You can help. Basically help support the channel by donating money for content, and there are perks and things you get like that. Follow the Patreon link down there. There's a lot of things that I want to do. I'd like to start a website. I need to upgrade some equipment and things like that as well. I am just a one-man operation, so making $1 here or there would be worth it. But what that dollar is going to get for you is, as I say, I'm not sure exactly what my goal will be yet, but if I can get enough people to support me here on the channel through Patreon and things like that, I want to avoid putting ads into videos. Once I get monetized, I mean, really, that's what getting monetized is. Once you get to 1,000 subscribers, is you can put ads in your videos and make money through ads. And AdSense, and I just kind of think that's silly. For me, I am a premium member here on YouTube, so I don't have to watch the commercials, because I'm willing to pay not to watch commercials. I'm not sure about you guys, but I don't watch many TV shows, and if I do, it's usually through a streaming service, because I don't like to watch commercials. I just don't like to do it. I'm sure plenty of you out there feel the same way. So for me, it's worth that. Now, if I can get to the point where I have enough subscribers and I have enough people, Patreon supporters, I want to avoid ever putting ads into my videos. Now, obviously, if you are a Patreon supporter, there will be other bonus things that's, perks that come along with that. So maybe you should look into those. I just kind of went in there and just set some stuff up right now. It's really no big deal. So anyway, getting into the show. Like I said, I if you ever watch the Trailer Park Live before, typically I go over some of the comic books that I pulled for the week, and then I get in the live chats and talk about movies, music, and just comic books and just things like that. Rumors going around and all kinds of different stuff. It's always fun when you guys are here. You guys are kind of what make these shows worthwhile. I mean, you guys are basically the energy that we feed off of when we're doing a live show. Now, especially because I am doing a live solo show. So, it's different than when you're doing a show or a stream with somebody else. Like over on Drunk 3PO's channel, there's a link down in the description where you can go check out some Black Guys in a Drunk, where he's put together a great panel of people, and I'm very proud to be a part of it, where we get together and talk about a lot of the same things that I talk about here on my show, except for there are a lot more different viewpoints from different great content creators, some great guys out there that show up on that stream. Like I said, it's on Drunk 3PO's channel. We've also got LB from the Lonely Banter on there. There's Fatal J. There's Demogeny. There's Lord Callus. Abu Nas. There's just some different creators that Drunk 3PO has put together, and we have a really good time. And like I said, I cover a lot of the same things here on my channel as well. But there, like I said, you get different viewpoints, a lot more people. You get to meet a lot of great content creators and just see us get together and have a good time, man. We kind of feed off of each other, and also obviously, like I said, off of you guys, the viewers. Like I said, if you ever see a live stream here on YouTube, where people are actually live, not like I kind of do on the Trailer Park Live on Fridays, where I film a little bit of it and then I go actually live, like the live shows, that's really all you guys. I mean, other than that, it's just us sitting here, a content creator sitting here flapping our gums, looking into a camera that's hooked up to a computer. That's really all it is. So we need people there to help support us and to help feed us and help, I don't know, I guess bring the noise. So yeah, again, thank you all so much for being here. Now, like I said, make sure you subscribe, but make sure you have notifications on so you know when I'm getting ready to go live. Okay, now, all of that aside, today we've got what I want to talk about is just a little bit of theorizing and, just some things that we want to talk about from something that just recently happened. So, as we all know, at San Diego Comic Con, they announced that there is going to be a new Thor movie, and that is going to be Thor 4, which is going to be titled Love and Thunder. And obviously, there are a lot of people talking about this. Whether it be because they like the idea or they don't like the idea of Jane Foster becoming Thor. Taika Waititi came out on stage and said, "Hey, Jane Foster is going to be Thor," and he didn't say that she was anything like that. He said it's Jane Foster Thor. Now, a lot of people obviously reacted to this. We do know that this happened in the comic books as well. So, this really comes as no surprise to anybody who knows about the comic books or kind of, just anything like that. And I think there are a lot of people out there, even those who don't read the comics at this point, know that in the comics, they did have Jane Foster take up the mantle of Thor for a little while, which is a funny thing because, I'm sure you've probably seen many videos here on YouTube talk about it as well. Other content creators say that Thor is a name, it is the character's name, it is not a mantle, kind of like 007 or like Black Widow. Okay, it's not just a moniker. It's Thor's name. Okay, Thor, Odin's son, right? So anyway, all that silliness aside, they're basically treating the name like it is a mantle. Obviously, in this name, it's just a moniker, which we don't really need to go into splitting hairs about that. It's neither here nor there. Now, if you've heard me talk about this, my reaction to it is I'm not really that worried about it. Mostly for one reason, and that's because as we know, Natalie Portman is the one who's going to be reprising her role as Jane Foster in this movie. And I'm not that worried about it because one, I think we all know how Natalie Portman feels about being in these like not just the MCU, but any of these kind of nerdy movies. I believe I haven't ever actually went out there and looked it up and stuff, but I think it's pretty well known that she's not really into getting into these big old franchises, big old nerdy things, and being a big part of them. She came in, she did her part, and hey, she did what she does. Now, the other thing that I want to say before I really get too much more into this is I noticed the second when people started reacting about this movie, about Jane Foster becoming Thor and everything in this movie, I noticed a lot of people online starting to just be turds for no reason. Like, I get it if you don't like the idea, you don't like the concept of her coming in to be Jane Foster Thor or anything like that. But then I've actually seen people who have gotten on and they're just like being mean to Natalie Portman. Just saying things like just bashing her and all those kinds of things. And it's like that's like whether you like the movie or not, whether you want to see the movie or not, like there's really no reason to be talking trash about Natalie Portman. I mean, she's a great actress. She's been in a lot of films. I mean, hell, God, what was the first one she did? The Professional, where she was in that? God, she was like a teenager. She was a kid. And, she knocked it out of the park in that movie. So obviously, she's very talented. I think there's a lot of people out there, just like I said, they're angry at the fact that she's going to be Jane Foster Thor. And like I said, I understand it. I get that. I totally get it. But to go out there and bash this young lady for doing a role in a movie, it just seems wrong, guys. Calm down. Calm down. If you want to be mad about Jane Foster Thor, hey, cool, that's fine. You can be upset about that. I have no problem with that. I don't have no, I don't have any problem with that. What I do have is problems with people going out there and being, just, I don't know. It's just they're being turds to people online. Just like Natalie Portman. Like all of a sudden you don't like Natalie Portman. I've seen people talking trash about some of these other stars who haven't ever come out and just been like, undesirable, I guess like just outright mean, like I noticed a lot of people talking about Kevin Smith lately and all these kinds of things. I'm like, man, like all of a sudden like Kevin Smith is not cool now. Like Kevin Smith sucks. He's just like people just want to bash on Kevin Smith now. I don't know. To me, these kinds of things make no sense. But like I said, this Jane Foster thing, being Thor, I get it. Some people just aren't going to like the idea. But I also think, and here's my thoughts, is I think that a lot of people are looking into this a little too much. Because like I said, we got Natalie Portman coming in to reprise her role as Jane Foster. And I honestly don't think that she is going to be in more than this movie after this. I don't think they offered her enough money, twisted her arm or whatnot to get her to hang around in the MCU for any longer than she wants. Obviously, if her desire to be in them isn't there, she's not going to keep signing on to do these movies, no matter how much they pay her. I mean, really. War Stu, welcome. He says confirmed. Yeah, so I just don't see that she's going to be in this franchise much longer. I think obviously they deviate from the movie what happens in the comic books. Okay, so the one thing I definitely think is she's going to take up the man. She's going to become worthy and take up the mantle of Thor. She's going to wield Mjolnir, which is crazy because people are talking about, oh look, Mjolnir's there. It's not Stormbreaker, because we know that in the current timeline that happened in Avengers Endgame, Mjolnir was destroyed. So is this an alternate universe or what's going on here? I honestly don't know. Obviously we see that we know that there's going to be a multiverse and things like that, but it makes me wonder if maybe, just maybe, they get Mjolnir back from a different timeline throughout the multiverse and bring it back to him. In their current reality, and then maybe something happens, and then Jane Foster ends up wielding it. Now the thing is as we know from the comic books, in case you don't know, Jane Foster had cancer, and when she wielded Mjolnir and she became Thor, it basically, like, she became strong and everything just like Thor, but every time she did that, it reset her cancer treatment. So she was, she would say she was doing better, making progress, and something happened. She like willingly picked up Mjolnir to go save some people. Then like, I've never read the comic books on this series, so I can tell you I don't know a whole lot about it, just what I do know about it. But basically it resets her cancer treatment, so she's back at square one. So it's like I would guess that every time she does it, she has to make that choice, like, is this worth it? Is this worth my life. And obviously they're superheroes, so yes, it is. Now, the thing that I would have to say about that, tying into this movie, is I think something like that will happen. Obviously, Thor's probably gonna think himself unworthy, or something happens where he becomes unworthy and can't wield Mjolnir. She picks it up. Now, the thing I think is, my theory is that she is going to die in this same movie. I think that either the cancer is going to get the best of her, or anything like that. Now, the other thing is I kind of was thinking that it seems like they left us a trail of breadcrumbs leading up to this anyway. Because if we see in you see in Thor: The Dark World, she got the ether was inside of her and all that stuff. They put her on the Soul Forge and those kinds of things. So it just kind of makes me wonder if maybe it was because the ether had got inside of her. If maybe that's something that triggered something inside of her body and made her get cancer or something. Or maybe in the movie they're not even going to give her cancer. Maybe it's some other kind of debilitating health factors or anything like that. That's similar, because doing like that's a pretty tough thing to put in a PG-13 movie if you think about it. Jane Foster getting cancer and dying. But I mean, I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm just wondering if maybe they might do something a little bit different there than the cancer that's killing her and threatening her life. Although I can also see them doing that too. Now, like I said, I do think that it's not going to be for any more than this movie. I noticed a lot of people were also upset about Tessa Thompson coming out saying that Valkyrie's got to go find her queen to be the queen of Asgard and all these kinds of things. And people were shocked, like, oh my god, like Valkyrie's bi or lesbian or whatever. And the thing is yeah, I believe that in Thor Ragnarok they alluded to that anyway. She was talking. There's like a small scene where she's sitting there talking to, I believe it was Thor, and she was talking about her being a Valkyrie and fighting in the wars against Hela. And she said losing loved ones, and it showed a very specific person, one of the other Valkyries that had fallen and died. And you could see the way she reacted to it. And to me, like in the movie, when I first seen it, I was like, I mean, that just kind of alluded to me that was possibly her girlfriend. You know, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Let me know down in the comments below. I just kind of felt that that's what that scene showed to me. And I've seen other people talking about, like in Captain Marvel. I had one of my friends saying, oh, like that scene when they're in the cabin where where Carol Danvers and Maria Rambeau are sitting there talking, and Maria was like, you don't remember anything, and she was all kind of emotional, and Lashana Lynch went in there and really knocked that scene out of the park. One of my friends even said, like, oh, I thought they kind of alluded to them, like maybe, and I'm like, I didn't really get that. I didn't really get that out of that movie, but again, maybe that's just me. So yeah, like I said, I don't think, like, I get people's reactions to what's going on here. A lot of people didn't like that stuff in the comic books when Jane Foster took over as Thor anyway. So there was a lot of people who didn't like that in the comic books anyway. Now, of course, there are other people out there. You can even go here on YouTube. People. Everybody's trying to make it on YouTube. Everybody. You got to do something. And maybe they are genuinely upset, but everybody's has this reaction, and it's there are some people who it makes sense that that they're having this reaction. They've been heavy into the comic books. They didn't like it then, and then there are people that like the normies who don't read comic books, and they hear this. They're just upset because I'm guessing they're just upset because there's going to be a female-led Thor movie. Now that's the other thing is, we don't know that it's going to be female-led. Just because Jane Foster is going to take up the mantle of Thor, just because Valkyrie is going to be there looking for her Queen of Asgard, that doesn't mean that they're the main characters. This movie is still called Thor: Love and Thunder, and maybe, just maybe, it's the story of Thor going from thinking he's unworthy, even after the events of Avengers Endgame, and becoming worthy again by the end of the movie. I think he's still the main character. Would still focus on his journey. Now we see, that he was wielding Mjolnir and everything in Endgame and all that stuff. It just makes you wonder, does this happen in an alternate reality where he still thinks he's unworthy, even though at the very end of Endgame they saved everybody, everything was all good? Now, that the thing is you got to remember that Thor still lost all his loved ones by the end of Endgame. Um, like, sure, some of his people probably, he probably got some of his people back, but he, his father is still dead, his mother is still dead. Loki is pretty much to be determined, because we seen in the one past in Avengers Endgame in 2012 where he took off with the Tesseract. And, well, you got to remember that was probably a different timeline, because then he would have still existed in the current future that they were in Avengers Endgame. So he would have still existed, and he'd probably still be around, or I mean, still be dead at that point. So there's definitely questions to be answered here. Now, the other thing that I want to go to and get into, and this is where we're getting ready to get into some speculation. I'm not sure if you guys seen recently on Twitter, Jeff Goldblum, the Grandmaster, actually went out and tweeted about the San Diego Comic Con news, that he was excited for the Thor Love and Thunder being announced. He was wishing Taika Waititi a good luck on the film, and he was saying, hey, Thor Love and Thunder, and not forgetting the Grandmaster. Kind of making a joke, and we don't know yet. There's speculation that the Grandmaster is going to be in this movie, and I've got we're gonna get ready to get into some speculation here, because the Grandmaster, as we all know, was in Thor Ragnarok, and what did he do? He held the contest of champions. Okay, now things going to be similar to the comic books and still different from the comic books. This kind of raises a lot of questions for me. Okay, for one, it would be great to have the Grandmaster come back into the next Thor movie, or just into the MCU altogether. Jeff Goldblum is a great actor. I really like what he does as done in this role. Obviously, he's been in plenty of other movies that he's great in, but I think I'm pretty excited that the Grandmaster is going to be coming back. Hopefully, he comes back anyway. I think that would definitely be a very cool thing. But then that makes you kind of wonder, what is his role going to be in the movie if they did that? Well, I have some theories and speculations about that as well. Now, as we all know, a lot of people, there has been a lot of talk that not even just about the Russo brothers coming back, but just imagine. But there's also been like a lot of talk about Secret Wars being the next Avengers movie, and could that be what's getting ready to happen here? Are we getting ready to get Avengers Secret Wars, or just Secret Wars altogether? Maybe it's not even an Avengers movie. I have a feeling that maybe there is, and there's several reasons why. Um, Now, obviously, we know, just like in the comic books, that the Grandmaster is brothers with, I believe, the Collector here, and I could be wrong that they're not brothers. Maybe they're just business partners. But let's imagine that maybe they're having a contest of champions of sorts, or maybe they got a bet going on, or something like that, where we're gonna have the the Collector, and I know everybody's probably thinking, oh, the Collector's dead, Thanos killed him, right? We never actually seen that. We never actually seen him kill the Collector whatsoever, so we don't know that the Collector is dead, for one. We just seen that he was basically, we seen him casting the illusion that he killed him, and then we seen him appear later, and we don't really know what Thanos did with the Collector. So let's just say that the Collector and the Grandmaster get together, and they're conspiring because they want to have, a contest of champions, but even greater. They want to bring superheroes, villains, whatnot, together to fight in a war in the cosmos, right? Maybe like a Secret Wars. And maybe, just maybe, they've already started that. Maybe that's already going on in the background. Now, I think I think that that's very possible that they have actually done that. And maybe that's kind of where this Jane Foster Thor is going to come in at. Maybe something happens. Thor can't be there. Thor can't go. Who really knows? But maybe there is this contest of champions that's going to end up being the Secret Wars, where we got our heroes, even and other cosmic villains engaged in this contest, or maybe it's just like a civil war between all of these people all together. Because obviously we can see they obviously don't get along the best in the first place. But let's just say they are having that contest. I can't remember what's. Oh, okay, there we go. Let's just say that they do set that up, and that brings us into Secret Wars. I just think that it'd be a very cool concept, right? And maybe they've already alluded to it. We got Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness getting ready to come out. We've got Loki. We know that Loki was he was in Thor Ragnarok. He was there with the Grandmaster for a couple of weeks before Thor got there, and we seen that they were only separated on the Rainbow Bridge by seconds, but yet Loki was there for 2 weeks, and Thor had just barely got there. So, you know, it just makes me wonder if that's exactly what we're going to get, and that's what's going to lead up to it. Because there's also something else that I don't really hear anybody else talking about out there, and that is in Spider-Man Far From Home. If you go and watch Spider-Man Far From Home, in that post-credit scene, we see Talos and his wife, when they're sitting there talking to Nick Fury, and he's talking about, yeah, we gave him the glasses, and it's all good. And he goes, but people were asking about the Avengers, and I was kind of stuck and didn't really know what to say. I didn't know what to tell him. And Nick, I can't exactly remember what Nick Fury said, but the whole thing alluded to that Talos knew that the Avengers weren't there on Earth, it seemed, and that they were out doing something else, and they were probably on a mission in space. And what are they doing in space? I know, obviously, we lost a couple of Avengers. We lost Steve Rogers in Avengers Endgame, and then obviously we lost Tony Stark. So the rest of the Avengers, and maybe T'Challa's out in space too with them. He's not technically an Avenger, but maybe he was out there with him. Let's just imagine, what are they doing out in space? I don't hear anybody talking about this. Talos specifically brought that up about, what was I supposed to tell him? Like, he knew that they were off somewhere else. And Nick Fury knew that they were off somewhere else. And, I can't remember what his response to it was, but it pretty much amounted to, don't worry about it. Okay? And maybe the Avengers are off in space fighting, in a galactic battle in the cosmos against a cosmic threat, and maybe that battle is the Secret Wars, and maybe eventually, by the time we get there, maybe we get Peter Parker going into space, and the Secret Wars comes back. You know where we're all going with this, right? Comes back with the with the symbiote suit. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I do think that they're definitely drawing those lines there. It's been speculated for a while that the Secret Wars is coming. And obviously, if they kind of did some of those things in Thor: Love and Thunder, it helps set up that next movie. You get the Grandmaster back in there. You bring the Collector back in, who was actually in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Maybe the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, obviously, would probably come out before that next Avengers movie, and maybe that's what brings back the Collector back into the fold. But again, I don't know. They've got plenty of years to build up to it. As we've seen, that the slate that they released only went through 2022, so only a couple of years. And we don't know that there's not going to be more in Phase 4. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. It's really hard to say. I think at this point, Marvel Studios is trying not to put anything really in concrete, so then they don't have to worry about, like, oh hey, we said we're going to do this, and we didn't do it. Kind of like they did for when they were announcing was it Phase 3, when there was like the Inhumans and some of these other things that ended up just not happening, where the Inhumans went to TV and all of those kinds of things. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I think that there's a high possibility that Secret Wars is coming, and the Thor: Love and Thunder definitely helps set up bring him back in the Grandmaster. There's a bonus scene at the end, or mid-credit scene and post-credit scene where maybe he gets together with the Collector, and or maybe he's just talking to somebody, maybe the Collector, about this war they got going on, this contest, if you will, with the heroes. And then maybe in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, that's where we see that Thor is actually out there with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Whatever happens, they meet the Collector, and maybe they get tossed into this contest as well. They just kind of, almost the same way that all the Avengers became assembled before we got the first Avengers movie or the second one. Maybe what they're going to do is they have these cosmic villains, basically like the Grandmaster and the Collector, and who knows who else we're going to get. Out of some of these movies, maybe they're all working together, pulling the strings to get everybody collected into one place so they can start this battle, this war, which would be the Secret Wars. I don't know. I can't really speak too much to it because I never read the Secret Wars. I haven't read the Secret Wars yet. Anyway, I guess maybe I need to get on my Marvel app and Marvel Unlimited and check that out and read that. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments below. I think there's a great chance that we're going to be getting this. And with so much that can be leading up to it, obviously we know that the Loki series could go off and kind of set up some different things in there, as far as setting up plot points for it, as well as even the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I talked about yesterday, could easily help set up things going into that next phase of films, setting up the next Avengers movie. And then obviously WandaVision could be a huge one in getting all kinds of things set up. And Eternals, I think the Eternals are going to get us there. I mean, apparently they are going to be here based on Earth. It is going to be like an Earth-based story, but we know the Eternals aren't from Earth, so maybe that also somehow sets up our cosmic beings out there, and that are setting up these secret wars, like I said, because you see to the Grandmaster, these kinds of wars, putting people at odds with each other and making them fight each other. That's what he does. It's that's his enjoyment, and to think that that's not going to carry on. And obviously we know the Collector has plenty of different things at his disposal. Even though we seen a lot of the stuff got destroyed and everything. I mean, do you think that a guy like the Collector keeps all his eggs in one basket? Probably not. I'm willing to bet he doesn't. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Thor: Love and Thunder. Like I said, it's gonna be a crazy it's gonna be a pretty crazy movie. I don't know. I think like I said, there are probably people overreacting to it that some people that don't necessarily have a reason to, where there are other people that probably do. Like I said, people that actually read the comics and just didn't enjoy the story at all, and then also people who are just out there upset that Jane Foster is going to be Thor. So if you guys follow me here on the channel, I keep myself pretty open to these things. I listen to what people have to say. I respect others' opinions, and I would like to know what your opinion is. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about those kinds of things. Let me know your thoughts. It helps me out as a content creator. It helps me out here on the show. Now let's see. Like I said, we got War Stew in here. War Stew says confirmed. Confirmed. Yep, it's confirmed, man. Thor: Love and Thunder is going to be setting up Secret Wars, along with Guardians of the Galaxy. Wookiee Lives Matters. I just want them to get as ridiculous as possible. Everyone should get new skin and genitals. I want a female Juggernaut. And it's crazy because it makes you wonder what. I mean, they've obviously gone down that route also in the first place, but then they've got that What If series getting ready to come up. It's going to be animated, and it's probably not necessarily going to be tied into the MCU. But from what I heard, they're going to be taking events that happen in the MCU and tweaking them up, just changing them a little bit. So it's very possible. A male Jubilee. You know what? It's possible. It's possible. It's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. You can imagine seeing a little guy out there with little sparklies coming out of his hands. Woo! Hey, man, I know that guy. I think I know that guy. I've got the perfect casting for him. Man, perfect. Um, but yeah, that's I guess that's really all I've got for Thor: Love and Thunder. Just like I said, that was just some news that kind of popped up. Jeff Goldblum sending out that tweet, congratulating Taika on getting ready to come back and make Thor: Love and Thunder, and telling him not to forget the Grandmaster. So, either way, I'm looking forward to it. I go watch a lot. I like movies, so I go watch them anyway. It would take a lot for them to get me to not go to see a movie, and which I gotta say probably isn't that hard neither. There's plenty of movies I didn't go see because I'm just kind of like, I don't really want to go see that movie, or I just didn't take the time. Like I actually never made it to see Shaft. I never actually made it to see Shaft, and I actually wanted to see that movie because I did like John Singleton's Shaft that he did back in 2000. Obviously Samuel L. Jackson was in that, but this new one was actually written by Kenya Barris, and I think Kenya Barris is he's a pretty decent writer. I used to watch that show Blackish on ABC that he did. Funny stuff. Anthony Anderson obviously was in that movie, and he was just hilarious. Tracy Ellis Ross was playing the mother, and then they had their kids, and it was a pretty funny TV show. So I really did want to make it to see what Shaft had to offer, but I guess I'm gonna have to wait. I guess I'm gonna have to wait to get Shafted till it comes out on DVD or digital, so I can check that out. Now the next thing, like I said, there's yeah. What else was there? Oh, Rutger Hauer as well. Recently we seen yesterday that Rutger Hauer had died, and I'm sure most people who are a fan of films or movies in general just probably know who Rutger Hauer is. He was in such like great films like Blade Runner. That's the first thing. That's one of the first things I remember him in. Obviously, as a child, I would have been like 3 years old when that movie came out, and I definitely remember it was like some scenes that burned into my memory, that I'll remember for the rest of my life, was seeing him sitting there, fighting, and he was, just in the rain where he's sitting there, like it was just crazy. It's just something I remembered every all through my childhood. Obviously he was in Lady Hawk, which is a pretty good movie. God, I can't remember who all was in that. I haven't seen that in years as well. But I remember my grandma used to have that on VHS and would put that in and watch it. What is it? Matthew Broderick. Man, why am I thinking Michelle Pfeiffer? Was Michelle Pfeiffer? Was it? I don't think so. But it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. But I do remember liking that one. He was in that. Obviously, Blind Fury, one of the great movies that he ever did. Hobo with a Shotgun. Yeah, it's a real shame when we lose some of these actors, because these days, like, as I came up, as I was growing up watching films, I liked watching movies. I just watched all kinds of movies. I just put on a movie and watch them. And the one thing, like I said, is I've always liked watching people coming up in the industry, and that's one of the hard things when we lose somebody like a Rutger Hauer is, who's going to replace a Rutger Hauer. And there's really nobody to replace a Rutger Hauer. There's nobody to replace a Gene Wilder. There's nobody to replace a John Candy. There's just some of these people that are just absolute icons, and some of the best people that there are in the film industry. And losing him is a pretty big one. And like I said, in films, like who's up and coming, who's the next actor who's going to take on, who's like that kind of, who's got that kind of presence, who brings that to the camera with him. It seems like more and more these days we're losing those kinds of actors. But that's at the same time, we've got to keep ourselves open and seeing some of these new films. And that's why I say it's kind of bad that I love all these movies and things like that, but I'm just not into TV shows. And And honestly, on TV shows, that's where a lot of the great actors go to for a regular, steady paycheck, and that's obviously also where a lot of new and upcoming actors come from. We've seen a lot of people coming up through, in my days, through the Disney Channel, like through the the Mickey Mouse Club. God, what you can't do that on television. And just different things like that. Double Dare. I remember, God, was it? Didn't Mario Joyner, that comedian Mario Joyner, he used to be like one of the hosts of Double Dare, like when Mark Summers wasn't on there and stuff. I don't. It seems like so little people remember that. And you know what's funny is I actually went to look that up before, and I could find almost nothing on it. But yeah, that's the thing is, like we've got to keep ourselves open to some of these up and coming actors. Like we got a lot of people who were upset with the casting of the new Batman, Robert Pattinson coming in as Batman, and like, look, I totally get it. These people go off, they do movies and things like that, and they, whether they're in a lot of them or not, a lot of people, these are the types of roles that people always they remember them in, and always seem to remember them in. Is Robert Pattinson is always going to be the sparkly vampire. And I get it. That's etched into people's memory. I never actually seen any of those movies, so I don't know if he was good in them, if he was bad in them. I don't think it makes him a bad actor. He was a young actor. He had to get some work, and these movies obviously made him a star. Um, so like I said, we got to keep our minds and our ears and our eyes open for these people that are coming up in the industry, in the hopes that they can replace some of these, not necessarily replace, but come in and be able to take on some of these roles that some of these other great actors did. They all have to start somewhere. They all start at square one, and slowly develop there. And unfortunately, there are a lot of I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of potential, good actors, who just don't quite get the chance. Maybe they don't get the roles to shine. And then we see other actors who just who don't really have the good acting chops, who aren't that great of actors, but they just still kind of have a presence, and they just happen to get lucky and get in movies, and get directors that can actually play to their strengths. And this is the one I can think of the most is Gal Gadot. She's beautiful young lady. She's now, as far as her acting chops, for me, I don't think she's got a great depth of range of her acting skills, of her acting chops. She's just not that great. But when she was in Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins came in and played to all of her strengths and did everything that she could do, and really played to them. So I think that really helps Gal Gadot out. But to me, she still needs to go and help develop those acting chops of hers. And now I believe there was a TV show that was supposed to be coming out a while back, in which I believe the actress's name is, God, is it? Oh man, she was in the Agents of Shield. Is that Bobby Morse? Is that her name? I can't remember. No, what is that young lady's name? Gosh, she was in the first John Wick. Is it Bobby Morse? Maybe that, I can't remember. But she actually was going to, I think there was like a TV show at some point that she was going to be Wonder Woman and all these kinds of things. She obviously went on to be in Agents of Shield, and she's one of those actresses. I think she was in, God, was it John Wick? I don't think it was the first one, but I think it was the second one. It was the second one. Yeah, it was John Wick 2. She was in that as well. She was the chick who came to kill him in his room. And she is one of those actresses, like, I've seen enough out of her. I think like she's okay. I want to see her in more roles that show her that make her dig a little deeper into her repertoire. And unfortunately, from what I've seen, she just hasn't gotten those kinds of opportunities. And that's the thing we got to be aware of out there when we're watching these TV shows, these movies, and different things like that. Keeping our eye on, is there somebody out there who isn't getting maybe the roles they deserve? Somebody who has that potential. If you know of one of those actors or actresses that just hasn't been getting them, let me know down in the comments below. I know there is plenty of them out there that that could get a chance at being a great star. They just don't get the roles. Maybe they have bad agents. Maybe they've done something. It's so hard to say these days with how they're picking a lot of these actors and things like that. So I think there's a lot of them out there. But let's get back here into the live chats. I'm probably going to go for about 10 more minutes, maybe 15. Probably try to end this by 9 o'clock. I was kind of surprised about Mighty Thor because no one bought the book. Well, I mean, no one is kind of an over exaggeration. I mean, people bought the book. Now, I'm not sure. I'm not saying that everybody who bought it liked it. But yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of people who didn't like it, in the comic book and things like that. And as obviously that was done at a time when Marvel Comics, DC Comics, I think they were all kind of doing the same thing with like some of the virtue signaling and stuff like that. Like instead of just making new characters, they were just basically taking these characters, these existing characters, and giving them to other people. And so yeah, I mean, it's a hard, those kinds of things are difficult issues. I mean, it's all It's all trial and error for a company when they're doing something like that. Obviously, I I mean there was obviously proof that they realized it was like a total. It wasn't not. It was a mistake to do, and they started bringing it back to the original characters and things like that. Because I know there for a while you couldn't like find like the original Incredible Hulk. You know, you had it was Amadeus Cho instead of Bruce Banner and those kinds of things. So they obviously kind of learned from that, and I think at this point Marvel Studios is probably, since they've already got that in canon out there, they're probably going to take as much from that as they can and put it in the MCU. But I believe Kevin Feige is a little smarter, and obviously given the Marvel Comics had already done that, he already has a basis of to what to go off of to know what he can and what he can and should do, and some things like, okay, like maybe this is taking it too far. Because so far he's run a pretty tight ship. I mean, obviously there was the big to do with Edgar Wright over at the Ant-Man movie. That was a pretty big deal. Edgar Wright pretty much after was replaced with Peyton Reed, and it was just a bad dealing. And Edgar Wright is pretty much at the point where he's like, I'm not coming back to Marvel Studios. I'm not going to make a movie with these guys. It's not even. It's not even. I don't even. No, he just don't want to. So there's that, and then obviously we've seen the backlash with and it's funny too because it obviously affected the movie, but it is the star that made these comments. Brie Larson making those comments that she made at that Women in Film convention. What she said it upset a lot of people, and I totally get that. But the thing is that was something that affected the movie, and once again we get people, and that's, I guess I'm just not like that when it comes down to it. I don't equate the star that's flapping their gums to the media or whatnot to the movie. Like, I just want to see the movie, and if you're saying something I don't like, yeah, to me it's like, in one ear out the other. I honestly don't really care in most cases. Or at least I'm not going to react to it. Like, I'll still go see the movie and see if it's trash or not. And I went and seen Captain Marvel, and I thought it was all right. It was a good movie. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't one of the best MCU movies neither. So but obviously people have their preconceived notions just based off of some things that one of the stars said in the media. And and I think Disney and Marvel Studios has definitely learned a lot from these things that they've had happen. Obviously, they got control of the Last Jedi, and the Last Jedi is one of those divisive films that is out there on the landscape that just has people torn between. Liking it and loving it, really. And basically, you get two people on opposite sides, shouting at each other about this movie, saying like, oh, this movie sucked, you're stupid for liking it, and other people saying, oh, this movie's good, like, you're stupid for just being a hater. And the thing is like, can't you just be fans? Why you gotta fight with each other? You don't have to fight with each other. It's okay to not like the movie. It's okay, like, if you're one of the people who likes the movie and you're telling the haters like, hey, like, you can't force people to like the movie. It's an argument that really you can't make, because the people that don't like the movie just don't like the movie. You're not gonna shout any amount of obscenities at them, call them enough names or anything, or argue enough points to them to get them to like the movie. And the same thing with the haters, to the people who like the movie, calling them names, calling them stupid, saying like, this story completely just takes all the Star Wars lore and just throws it out the window and trashes it. I mean, like, and all that stuff. You're not gonna convince the people who like the movie to not like the movie. And so really there's no reason to keep going on about it. And I guess that's just how I am. Like, if there's something I don't like, I'll let you know that I don't like it. And I guess some people move on, but not us. I guess that's what it comes down to. And the thing is you can have your opinions and move on. You can have your opinion, you can voice your opinion, you can be discontent with it, and then just move on. Just You don't have to turn around every time somebody comes out and says that they like the Last Jedi and says something, calls you stupid for not liking or anything. You don't have to keep going on with that person. You can just tell that person like, yeah, I don't like it. Have a good day. Have a good day. You're not going to convince me. And same thing with the opposite direction. There's really no point in arguing this. Now the people that you need to talk to about this is the studios. is Disney, is the people at well, I guess not necessarily Lucasfilm anymore, but it's the people who are making the movie, the writers, the directors, the producers, the actors. These are the people you need to get. Sitting there arguing with other fans about the movie does no good. Doing the name calling because you do or you don't like it, it does no good for anybody. You need to contact the companies. Let those people know. The writers, the directors, the producers. Those are the people who need to know. So I mean, and like I said, there's people out there boycotting these movies and this kind, that kinds of stuff. Hey, that's fine if that's what you want to do. That's cool. But at the same time, you should still just let the company know and all that kinds of stuff. Keep writing them. Keep telling them about all these things. And the thing is you got to be rational. You can't just go out there and be completely irrational, going at this company, calling them names, calling all the things that they're doing stupid. You got to at least be able to rationalize your point. Otherwise, they're not going to take you seriously, and they're just going to be like, well, you're already off board. What do we need to please you for? You were here all these years, and one little thing gets you to jump off board. Like, we can correct it, but constantly going out there making writing articles or doing videos or all these constant tweets, attacking other fans, attacking people who do like the movie, attacking people who don't like the movie. It does no good. It's just a big hollow echo chamber of people yelling at each other. And then when you get, it's like, say you get all the people who like the movie together in their own little echo chamber, it becomes like, it's just like this land of like really cool stuff. It's like, you're just like completely blocking everything else out. And same with the people who don't like the movie. You're getting together and doing the same thing. Shouting, talking to each other about your discontent, chewing over the issues, and then blocking everything else out. It's like, you're in your own little la la land too. And like I said, we just need to be open to these things. And if you don't like if you don't like the thing, you don't have to keep going on about it. Just state your point and move on. But the most of all thing, if you don't like it, the people you need to be contacting, the people you need to be arguing with, is the studio. And just like I said, a lot of people are boycotting these things. Like, oh, voting with your dollars is a huge thing. Don't take my words here for something that they're not. Boycotting something, I mean, affecting their bottom line, it will get stuff done. But at the same time, if they don't know why you're discontent, they're not listening to you if you're just being one of those loud mouth breathers. Okay, they're not. They're not. I mean, you might think like, oh, they need to be listening to us, and yeah, they need to be. But if you're out there being an irrational dick, they're not going to care. They're just going to be like, well, all right, whatever. Obviously we can't convince this person. What can we do to reel them in? I can't get a good rational answer out of this person because they're just being they have their own personal bias like we all do. But you need to let them know, not just say, hey man, I'm not watching your movies or anything anymore. Let them know why. Be rational about it. Just like you would in a normal conversation. I don't think I've ever seen anybody that I know that has liked one thing and the other person dislikes another thing, unless they're talking about politics or religion, that just sit there and just start yelling at each other. Like the way I see online or in these videos or anything like that. So you got to think, they're a company and they're gonna listen to, they want to listen to the rational voices. If you're sitting out there, they're hearing all this hate and everything. It's just like, it gets to be so much. I mean, give them good reasons. Give them good points. Be a rational person. Don't just go out there red in the face, foaming at the mouth. It just doesn't work like that. I know when I used to work at my old job, where I was a supervisor, and I had to deal with doing customer service, and I got somebody sitting there in my face, yeah, just going off because they just want their way. Because most of the cases, people just wanted to vent. Okay. Most of the time, I would sit there and they'd be sitting there getting red in the face, yelling at me. I just sit there just like, yep. And wait for them to get done, and when they're done, like, okay, I'm terribly sorry about that. What could I do for you what could I do for you, to help make this better? And most of the time they just be like, well, nothing. I just wanted to let you know. You probably need to go speak to this person. Got this bad service or whatnot. And that was really about it. Just a person just wanted to unload, and that was it. Now the thing is I don't think that's the same way with these people who are discontent with these films. I don't think if you go up there, like I said, if they're most of the time I didn't listen to what the person was saying. That's the thing. If you can sit there and flap your gums, and they're just sitting there going, wait until you're done, and they're just like, okay, but what can we do for you? What could we do for you? Because I'm not listening to you sitting there yapping in my face, turning red, cursing, and all this stuff at my face over this. I mean, um, I know for a lot of us, we're emotionally connected to these films and everything, but like, it's not that big a deal. Um, Especially to them. I mean, they want you to like the movies. They want your money and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you're just sitting there in their face, they're eventually just not going to care. You know. So, like I said, if you don't like something, go out there, voice your opinions. Let the company know. Let Disney know. Write them. Don't just make a bunch of angry videos about them. It's to me that just doesn't get as much done. But now you can, however, go out there and rally and get other people together. Now that's the thing is, you can go out there and be rational and not like something and get all the other people who don't like it and say, okay, hey guys, we've got this big open letter that we want to send to Disney. Be smart about allying your forces together to extend your discontent to these companies about the things. So then they know, because they already know that a lot of people are angry. But like I said, they're probably not going to listen because people are just out there being just angry and turning red in the face and foaming at the mouth. Just they probably just not even listening to that. But I'm gonna get into the live chats here before I get ready to sign off. We've got about 5 more minutes left till we hit 9 o'clock. So let's see. Michelle Pfeiffer was also in it. Yeah, and Lady Hawk. Yeah, I figured so. Maverick Pilgrim, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here, sir. I appreciate it. Wookiee Lives Matter says, seriously, they have SJW characters they could push, but they suck. Squirrel Girl and Faith movie starring Amy Schumer as Faith and Christian Shaw as Squirrel Girl. It would be a dumpster fire. Yeah, and they do have those characters, and they've got plenty of characters out there that are original characters that they don't have to do that with. And you're absolutely right that they don't have to do the gender swaps or tokenizing or anything like that, race swaps. They have plenty of those characters out there. And if you ever go to watch Young Ripa 59 here on YouTube, he talks a lot about that. They've got the original characters out there to do that with already. There's no need to do that to a Peter Parker, to a Thor, and things like that. Now, the thing is obviously, the argument becomes, oh, well, they did it in the comics. Well, yeah, they did a lot of it in the comics, and at some point they learned their lesson. At some points they didn't. Now the thing is what I notice one thing that they have kind of done, like in the comics, is they've kind of separated. Like you can find your regular classic Captain America. You can find all these classic iterations of your characters now, and then there are the other characters who are out there who sometimes tie into these books, and who some of them even have their own books, like Squirrel Girl, and things like that. So yeah, I mean they've got plenty of it. And like I said, on some of those movies, like say they did a Squirrel Girl movie, people are gonna go watch it. Okay, there's people that are gonna go watch it. I might not like it, you might not like it, but there's other people out there that are gonna like it. I mean, there will be. Okay, Lasmana says, I'd pay to watch Gal Gadot read the phone book. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, she's a very beautiful actress, and like I said, to me, she just don't have the kind of depth of acting chops. I'd like to see her develop those. Look him up. He's a dead ringer for a young Harry Ford. Oh, sorry, I skipped one. Anthony Ingruber should have been Han in Solo. I'll have to look that up. The one thing I did like about the Solo movie though was it seemed like the guy they brought in, like they weren't trying to replace Harrison Ford, because we all know that you can't do that. Um, and he kind of made the character his own a little bit, but it was just different. Like I said, they weren't trying to imitate and replace Harrison Ford, and that's one thing I've got to hand it to him, that I liked about the movie, because you can't replace Harrison Ford. You just can't. Even whether you got somebody that looked like him or anything, you just can't replace Harrison Ford. Maverick Pilgrim says, there's also a lot of background checks that are also necessary for Marvel actors. Some people just can't pass, so that's a factor too. And that's true, and that's very true. I know, like at first for Marvel Studios, it probably wasn't like that when they were first starting off, because it was just a dream. It was it was a dream. It was a flash from the frying pan, and then all of a sudden, it turned into a big fire. So yeah, and now obviously they're a part of Disney, and Disney does like their people to be not necessarily like the background checks, but they like them to be like non controversial kind of stuff like that. Even though we can see that what has happened is we've got people out there who are being controversial. Now the thing is they're not being turds. They're not just out there attacking people. They are saying some maybe less than savory things that people won't like. But yeah, I mean, I totally get you. I mean, it's just like in a lot of things, you know, where being a turd gets you nowhere. Being a turd gets you nowhere. Just be nice. I mean, is it so hard to just be nice and accepting of people? Just this, and or at least tolerant, because tolerance and acceptance are a different thing. At least be tolerant. You can be tolerant and not have to accept things. You can be tolerant and not have to accept things. And just because you tolerate something doesn't mean you have to accept it. It's just something, just crazy stuff, man. That's just how the world is. So yeah, Wookiee Lives Matter says no one has ever given me reasons to like The Last Jedi. Just how I'm a bad person for not liking it. Yeah, and exactly, and that's the whole thing. Is the whole conversation around it is all convoluted. I'm sure you can find one of those people who really loves The Last Jedi, and they'll tell you, they could tell you all the reasons that they love it and all those kinds of things. But that doesn't necessarily that means nothing to you if you don't like it. It means nothing to you. Because you don't like it. There's no changing your mind about that. Now, I mean, at the same point, J.J. Abrams couldn't come in and knock a home run out of the park in this next movie and get you to like it. Say he went through and made a movie that kind of just fixed everything that happened in The Last Jedi. That's not going to make you like The Last Jedi. Okay? If they brought context to this or that, or retcon this or that, or just changed it, and it's not going to make you like the movie. So even having the conversation of why I think it's a good movie and why you should like it, because I know I love it and you don't, I mean, I could tell you about it, but to argue about it, it's completely pointless. But yeah, unfortunately, that's what I see is people sitting out there arguing their point, and once they're done arguing their point, then they just attack each other and just start calling each other turds, and just all kinds of other bad names. For liking or not liking the movie. It's pointless. It's pointless. Do you treat people like that in the real world? When you meet people in out in the real world, when you're out there on the streets, when you're at work, do you treat people like that? No, you don't. And I'm not saying you specifically, Wookiee Lives Matter. I'm not saying you specifically, but people in general, they don't. Maverick Pilgrim says, as far as what stories they go with, they are looking for something that will work well on screen. Some stories work better as a reworked story on film than they did in the books. And that's absolutely true. And that's something that I've said before is about some of these things is the idea. It looks good on paper. But by the time you translate it to screen, it just don't work. Like to me, that's like the X-Men: The Dark Phoenix movie, Dark Phoenix. That was the thing is, I thought that movie, like the script, just everything. I bet you every single thing that they had there, it looked great on paper. It looked great on paper. It just didn't translate well to film. Didn't translate well to film at all. But anyway, that's all I've got for this video today, folks. I got 1 hour today. So hopefully I can get this done again tomorrow morning. You all have, and don't forget, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to see if I can do this stream every single morning for about an hour. And then I will still be doing the Trailer Park Live on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you tune in for that. And maybe I'm going to have to change. Maybe I'm going to just start calling this show the Trailer Park Live. And maybe that will be the Trailer Park Live Prime Time. Okay, that's all I've got for this video today, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Second Street Marvel today. If you're not already, please make sure you're subscribed. Click the little bell so you get notifications anytime we have uploaded new content. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you don't, hell, give it a thumbs down. It's all good. But while you're at it, make sure you share it with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel. Because the sooner we get to 350 subscribers, the sooner I get to give away a copy of DC's Shazam. I got a digital copy of DC's Shazam, so to get entered into that, you got to make sure that you're subscribed and leave a comment down in this video or any of the videos until I hit 350 subscribers, which was actually suggested by you viewers to hit 350. I was going to wait till 400, but 350 sounds good. You all have a very good day. I will see you in the next video. Later.